Hello everyone, Ben here, and today I thought we'd take a step back and reflect on the things which make RaceRoom my favourite racing sim of the moment. Now, before the comment sections fill up with #fanboy, let's be clear, there's loads of great sims out there. I play RaceRoom, iRacing, Assetto Corsa. I even play racing games towards the more simcade end of things like the F1 series. You should definitely go and play the sims that bring you the most enjoyment. But given RaceRoom still has a relatively small profile compared to those other titles I've just mentioned, I thought it would be worth talking through why I think in many ways it's the best. Before we get into the list, if at any stage of watching this video you're enjoying what you see, make sure to click the like button, and if you want to see more RaceRoom and iRacing content, get subscribed too so you don't miss out. Oh, and let me know in the comments what your favourite sim is. Sim racing could be amongst the least user-friendly genre of video games that there is. Even if you're a seasoned racer, getting to grips with a new sim can be a real drag, with each game coming with its own quirks, the need to set up your FOV, calibrate your wheel and pedals, get the force feedback dialed in, get used to new physics. And that's before you adjust the graphics, get used to the different online systems, apply custom setups to cars, or figure out the quirks of the AI. If you're time poor, you could spend your entire racing session stuck in menus and barely get out on track at all. And balancing sim racing with having a young family, a day job and a YouTube channel, for me, every second counts. RaceRoom has been as close to a plug and play racing sim as I've found. The game will run well on most systems. The physics and force feedback felt pretty excellent to me immediately. The stock setups that the majority of the cars come with feel great, and the online system is comparatively very straightforward. The schedule of races, although limited in comparison to something like iRacing, is clear and transparent. Most races last 15 minutes, and the process for getting into the race sessions themselves is very easy. The online system's continuing to be developed, but even in its current state with the mix of daily long races and hourly sprint sessions, it's very easy to log on and find something that you want to race and have a great time against other players doing so. The latest update has further improved elements of the UI with a streamlined field of view calculator, easier to navigate force feedback settings and an improved replay suite. The only negative against the game in terms of accessibility in my view is the slightly strange way in which you have to purchase content for the game, using an in-game currency which is likely to baffle some new users, and at its worst it might lead to some spending more than they need to. But this factor aside, you don't have to navigate the obtuse UI of R-Factor 2, download the copious amounts of mods of Assetto Corsa, add custom FFB files or setups to make some of the cars drivable as in AMS2, or join a third-party league for clean racing as you will most likely need to on Assetto Corsa Competizione. With RaceRoom, you can just boot the game up, quickly check your settings, and hop into an online server to start your online career. Easy. Sim racing can get really expensive really quickly. A lot of that expense can come from the hardware required to run sims, but sims themselves run a range of different pricing models, and with paid DLC and content packs, even if the purchase of the base game looks reasonable enough, you can easily double the amount you need to spend to acquire and race all of the available content. And if you're into iRacing, well, every single piece of content is sold separately, and you'll likely sink hundreds of pounds into the sim within your first year of playing. Notwithstanding the obtuse way in which you have to buy content in RaceRoom, it still compares very favourably to most other sims in this regard, in my opinion. In some ways you have the best of all worlds in terms of how the pricing is structured. You get the flexibility of something like iRacing or R-Factor 2 of being able to pick and choose the content you want to pay for and will use, alongside the option of buying everything currently available for the sim for not much more than you'd pay for a AAA title on console these days. If you did the same in iRacing, the cost would total over £1,000. Sure, you'll then need to supplement that expense with individual content buys as and when something new comes out in the future, and the price point is a lot more expensive than something like Assetto Corsa or even Competizione. But in RaceRoom you get the breadth of content afforded by something like Assetto Corsa without the need for custom mods and third-party leagues being required, and you get the depth of physics and force feedback offered by Competizione, but for a much wider range of modern and historic cars than just GT3 and GT4. And overall, the stability, consistency and quality of the platform and content offered by RaceRoom is, in my opinion, light years ahead of where AMS2 currently is, even if it's a far better looking title. Overall, in an era of games as a service, I'm personally content to spend £50 a year to enjoy all of the content RaceRoom has to offer, and truth be told, I haven't even had to spend that this year, following my purchase of the premium pack in 2020. I play the sim every other day, and for me, that represents really great value for money. One of the joys of sim racing for me is being able to drive a range of cars and tracks. I like being able to create or hop into different racing scenarios and experience something new every time I do. I'm much more on this end of the spectrum than those sim racers who like to specialise in a class of racing or in a particular car and dedicate their time to becoming the best that they can be in it. And so for me, the fact that RaceRoom provides everything from modern and historic touring cars to single-seaters from the junior formulas to F1 style experiences, DTM, historic sports cars, prototypes and much more besides is just awesome. Are some of these classes better to drive than others? Of course they are, although the new physics upgrades are being rolled out across the various different classes in the game, and the new force feedback has already made a big difference. Add in a great range of familiar and less familiar tracks spanning continents across the globe, and I'm really confident that RaceRoom has something to offer almost everyone. The ranked schedule of online racing does a decent job of cycling through the most popular content, as well as some of the more niche car and track combinations you can bring together, so you can experience this variety of content online, as well as against a largely excellent AI. In other words, it's very difficult to get bored with RaceRoom, as there's almost always something new to explore with the sim. So there are the top 3 reasons why I enjoy RaceRoom above all other sims at the moment. It's not to say that the game is perfect. The graphics engine is somewhat dated compared to other titles, the online system is still in development, new content drops could do with being a bit more frequent. And there's no doubt that other sims do some things better than RaceRoom does. But even taking all of that into account, for me and for what I'm looking for from sim racing, as a package, RaceRoom ticks more boxes than any other sim on the market right now. Let me know in the comments if you agree with the points I've made, and especially let me know if you disagree. As I said at the beginning, I enjoy loads of sims and generally look for the best in what each brings to the table, so I promise I won't be offended. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, leave a like, get subscribed, and I will see you next time.